Fludded.
Hello, it's Craig here at Fludded. Thank you for watching this video. A couple of nights ago, I did a live stream watch along with the last episode with Jodie Whittaker of Doctor Who, and I had some pretty good feedback. We had like 200 people watching it with us, and I know that's not a huge amount by everybody else's standards, but by mine, it's an absolute bust. I absolutely was delighted with that, and people were putting some fantastic points forward. They seemed to quite like the fact that I wasn't an avid fan and I didn't really know what I was talking about. But I do know a little bit about how to make TV programs. That's kind of where I'm educated. So I make TV shows when I'm not doing YouTube videos, and I produce and direct things. So I'm also kind of interested in Doctor Who just because it's such a flagship show for the country, really, for Britain. And I've always been aware of it, although I've never really sort of been watching it. But we had a conversation, and during the conversation, I was having a few technical issues. You'll see that in the conversation of me being the monitors guy. I'm trying to pull information up all the time. Plus, I'm also having issues around sharing screens. But the two guests that we have are good friends of mine. There's Phil. Phil is somebody who has written plays. He's produced and directed plays, and he has also taught theatre to people, as far as I'm concerned, all around the country. And I've known him for many years. He's also got connections to cast members of Doctor Who, which is very we don't talk about them, but he's definitely got insights, I think, that we can all benefit from. And then, of course, there's Tempest, who's he's got his own little corner of the internet where he is very, very well known, perhaps for he was very keen to flag a tweet that he was involved in. He took part in an exchange, if you like, which managed to get 386,000 likes and 42,000 retweets, and also it became the Poke favorited it as one of the best tweets ever in the history of the universe. So that's I'm making that up. I have no idea what gradation they gave it, but he's also somebody who knows a great deal. I've known him all of my life pretty much, and he knows a great deal about Doctor Who and waxes lyrical about it. So it'll be interesting to see if, well, I know exactly how things went. So it is interesting to see how they both, Phil and Tempest, bounce off each other a little bit. As I say, I'm the guy at the helm and I'm trying to drive it forward, so I keep changing the subject, which is annoying. But I think it's a worthy conversation. I'm really chuffed with how it went. And we kicked off, really, asking, what's wrong with Doctor Who? And has Jodie Whittaker been given a bum deal by the internet? And this is what Tempest and Phil had to say.
It's the writing, it's the show, it's everything about the whole production is an absolute dog's breakfast.
Yeah, and actually, not just that, it's a sort of scheduling and pacing. So when there's months between episodes, it's not going to have that build up of an audience. So I don't think her recent stories haven't captured the audience's imagination, partly because they're not watching it, but because there's no like run into it really. It kind of they just come and go quite randomly. Really, I think which is a shame. So there's a mixture of things to do with the writing, but also to do with the scheduling. I think, but yeah, mainly the writing and the directing.
And the sound and the graphics. I don't know. What did you think of the last episode, The Power of the Doctor?
I think actually, you mentioned graphics. If it's a good script, you forgive the graphics or you don't notice the graphics. But when everything's bad, then everything stands out, I think. And I thought The Power of the Doctor, it was better than it had been. It wasn't as I was slightly concerned. Actually, it was really sad because normally I'm building up to the final episode of the Doctor, and I remember it was halfway through Sunday, and I thought, oh yeah, Doctor Who's on tonight. Well, it should have been my first waking thought. And so if I wasn't that excited about it, certainly it was something amiss. But actually, in spite of the previous episode, which was on ESET, was really kind of very weak. This had a lot more going for it, I think. So, yeah, it wasn't perfect, but I enjoyed it, actually.
Did you like all of it? Was there...
No.
But, yeah. So when you say... Because you rewatched it, didn't you? I've only watched it once the way through. I did a live stream where I watched along with a fair few people, and it was a lot of fun. Here we go. By the power of Grayskull, I have the power. What? If that happened in the UK, which is where that location is, we would definitely know about it. So, letting you know, this didn't happen. Oh, we got a tie, we got a suit. Oh, we got a big floppy jacket, tartan jacket. Oh, bugger. We've had him. There's lots I kind of missed. I didn't really understand why some things were happening. The circle of people at the end, I didn't really know who some of them were and why they were there. Although, we're told they were companions.
That's a testament. That's a testament to the poor writing and the poor direction of the show, because he's tried to do something brand new with the whole thing, and yet he keeps putting references in that none of the new kids are going to have any idea what's going on. But I think with a lot of kids, they don't really care as long as it's bright and fast. They're happy with it.
And I think there is something in the writing that if you don't know who they are explained. But I think also he's brings people back from his own episodes as well, like bringing the Cybermasters back and things like that. And is it Vader bringing him back? And it's kind of like, well, people weren't really watching when these characters are introduced. So when they reappear again, they're not really that known.
So I think that when I noticed that at the start of it, well, first of all, I noticed it was kind of like the cliche of being on a train, fighting on the roof of a train, which we've seen 1,000 times before. And it was like presented music-wise, graphic-wise, visually as an absolute like horror story. This is horrifying what's happening, but they were making quips at each other. And so it was like, so I thought, well, if they're not worried about it, I'm not worried about it. If they don't care, I don't care. I didn't really get the impression anybody really cared about anybody. So it's very difficult to care yourself about it.
Yeah, I think
yeah, that's definitely one of... Oh, sorry. No, there's a bit of a delay here. I do apologise.
No, go ahead, Tempest.
I was going to say... what was I going to say? God knows. This business about caring people, this is absolutely it. There's no real heart to the show. It's all some kind of glossy sort of surface. And I mean, one thing you really noticed with the Russell T Davies stuff is that he didn't have a lot of time, like the old series. You'd have like 4 episodes where you could introduce that particular story's characters, and they could flesh them out. And Russell T Davies did a fantastic job of making all of those people real and making you care about them right from the beginning to the end. And all of that's missing now. And it to be fair, it wasn't that great under Moffat.
Do you think, they had 90 minutes, and I would have thought that within 90 minutes, there's plenty of time for space. I don't mean space as in outer space. I mean, in terms of, just slowing down, having characters communicate with one another. And it always seemed to be like panic. Next scene, get to the next scene. Let's get... And I think too many characters. Don't care about any of the characters. Although, actually, I don't know if that's entirely true. I thought that when the older characters came on, or the older actors came on, that they were they put the younger actors to shame in a way. I thought there was a lot of... We talked earlier off camera, me and Phil were talking about sort of the gravitas that somebody like Tennant had as soon as he appeared in a scene. He like took over the room, and then whenever Whittaker sort of appears in the room, she's just immediately annoying. It's like...
but when somebody like Sylvester McCoy has got more gravitas than the main actress, you're in trouble.
I mean, it's not... I don't think it's Whittaker's fault. I think he's kind of... she plays the hand she's dealt, doesn't she? And, she... And
absolutely.
The character's kind of all over the place in lots of episodes, and that's why she's literally staggering about when she's delivering the lines. You almost get the sense, she's her arms are waving and she looks very eccentric, and you get the sense of a good actor trying to grasp a character from all these lines and trying to find a consistency, which she's never ever got actually in any of the scripts, and she's trying to, desperately trying to make it work in a logical way that an actor would, by sort of taking, I don't know, analysing the lines and what was the subtext and how does she perform it, and the character really is all over the place, and hence and that comes out in a performance where she's literally staggering around the set a lot of the time. She's literally all over the place, and it's almost a testament to how good an actress she is. That she's desperately trying to make it work, and the fact that she can't is that she's given sort of such poor material some of the time, and very inconsistent material.
Yeah.
Well, are we being too hard on her? Are we a wee bit too hard on her? Maybe.
I've not been hard on her. I've been just full of compliments for her.
No, I think really she's. I think personally, I think she's a bad fit. You've got to have some kind of otherworldliness, some kind of weirdness and eccentricity, which she doesn't have. She's like an average 20-something-year-old woman that lives in Britain. She just doesn't have that quirk. And there are loads of actresses that do. And I don't know, it just seems a massive missed opportunity.
I think something else. Sorry, you were saying earlier.
Go ahead.
About sort of a story and the pace of it, and the graphics and things like that. I think that opening credit sequence of the on a train, which I don't know if that's a throwback to her first adventure, which started on a train, and she first made the first appearance, sort of crashing through a train roof.
Yeah, I wondered.
And then you had, there's lots of like characters. The Cybermen instantly arrive and start shooting at people, and if it was a Russell script, you'd have cared about the people they were shooting at. You would not want them to get killed. And you just don't know anything about them. And then hundreds of bullets go there where they don't seem to fall over. And then bullets just seem to knock the Cybermen over quite quickly. And they were supposed to be indestructible at one point. And, already it just starts kind of falling apart very quickly. And so much has got into trying to make it look impressive that actually the audience just don't care. And, we don't know who they are and where they are. And there's nothing, it's just a big sort of, we're trying to almost do a James Bond opening, I think, by starting with some really sort of special, high frills, high octane, spectacular. But the more spectacular they go, the more it seems to fall flat on the face, because Doctor Who doesn't work on that scale. Doctor Who works with tension, with fear, with character development, with empathy. With caring about the characters, with not wanting to see people get hurt, and this just cuts through all of that and ignores it and just gives you some brass spectacle, which ends up looking a bit like a cartoon and having no emotional impact whatsoever.
So, what do we think then that is going to happen? That what they're going to do that's different moving forward? And first, also, why are we going back to Tennant? Why are we not leaping straight into the new Doctor?
I think it's because he was available and up for it. I think. The story goes is they were doing during the lockdown. They were doing some live commentaries. Just I think there's communal, like through the internet. Lots of fans watching the same adventure at the same time and talking about it. And Tennant and Russell T Davies, and I think. What do you call it? Catherine Tate were doing that, and as part of that, they said, "Wouldn't it be fun to do it again?" And Russell said, "Well, if the opportunity came up, let's do it." And the opportunity came up, and I think it was as simple as that. I don't think it was. Personally, I don't think it's a grand design or an idea of we need to change things after Chibnall. I think it was just Russell got in charge and thought, well,
no, I agree with that.
You disagree?
Yeah, I think it is. It's setting a stake in the ground to say you can forget about everything that's just happened. We're going to go back to David Tennant. We're going to go back to David Tennant. Everything that's happened since Russell T Davies left, we're going to go back to David Tennant, and they've also brought back the old 1970s logo. And I think all of this is it's because of the anniversary that's coming up, and B, I think it's to reassure viewers before they do something completely out there. He's going to do completely new stuff. He's going to take it in a completely new direction. But he's reassuring everybody to make sure they're all back and watching so that they can judge it on its merits rather than complain about it because they've read something in the paper.
No, that's nice. I like the idea that, he's going to take it in a completely new direction. But I mean, it's interesting because...
Is the Doctor going to be from Gallifrey again? Are they going to make
I
it from
don't think-
Gallifrey
I don't
again,
think it's-
please?
Yeah, I don't think it'll touch any of those things. I think it'll leave them behind because what he did when he started it, when he rebooted it in when was it 2005, there was no mention of Gallifrey. There was no mention of all sorts of stuff that the long-term viewers knew about the Doctor. He just skipped over that, and I think he did that for two reasons. Firstly, so that he didn't upset any of the old guard by saying something new and different, and also because the new viewers don't care, and that's what Russell T Davies is brilliant at. He knows what his audience will accept, and if he's going to bring something back from the olden days, he will feed it in, and he'll introduce it, and there'll be some reason why it's there, and so everybody knows what's going on.
Yeah, it's a good comment in terms. Yeah, he said he knows the viewers well. I mean, nobody knows television and audiences and how far he can push things. Like Russell, you know, he's got an absolute instinct for it, and he knows how far he can push. I don't know, drama up to the point it's going to get ridiculously melodramatic. He just gets it up to that point, you know, and he pushes sometimes credibility up to the point where it's going to go too far, and at that stretching point, he knows that's where you stop it. It's an incredible instinct actually, and he knows that across genres. It's an amazing sort of like talent actually, and
I think he also knows how to bring people on board. So he'll start something low level, and he'll bring something up that you maybe don't agree with, and then he'll explain it, and he'll show you the people, and he'll show you how it works, and he'll show you the lives that they lead, and then you're on board. He doesn't just ram into your face something that you would disagree with and say you are wrong. And that's the power of the way that he makes things.
And it does it in a seemingly simple way. I mean, it's working at a very complex level, but it's very simple. When Moffat was writing, I often got the thought after an episode. I often thought, oh, that was clever. Whereas I never thought that after a Russell episode. I just thought, oh, that was fun.
He wants you to think that. He wants you to get to the end and go, oh, isn't he clever? That's the whole point of every single thing that Moffat ever does.
Whereas, with Russell, what he puts in it, a lot of fun, a lot of heart actually, and often after watching a Russell Doctor Who episode, you actually feel happier and better about life.
Yeah.
Which is what which is what good Doctor Who does, and I don't think we've really felt that much since Russell left. Actually, that's why it's so nice to see him come back.
To see him nice. So it turns out that I think was it announced today that Doctor Who is going to be also streamed on Disney Plus internationally. So when we see it here in the UK, that it's also going to be shown around the world at the same time, which is great. Did you know that, Tempest?
I didn't know that, but I think it's a very good thing. I think they should do it the other way around as well when there's an American TV show.
Just looking at Variety here, Tempest, you can't see this, I don't think, but Doctor Who is heading for Disney Plus following a deal with the BBC and Disney branded television. The beloved British sci-fi series will be exclusively available on the streaming servers outside the UK and Ireland. Domestically, it will remain on the BBC. The next season of the show will see Ncuti Gatwa taking control of the TARDIS, with his first appearance set to air next Christmas. The Russell T Davies said, "I love the show, and this is the best of both worlds, with the vision and joy of the BBC and Disney Plus. Together we can launch the TARDIS around the planet."
I apologise to absolutely everyone about that ridiculous voice you put on when you're playing Russell T Davies. That's absolutely shocking.
I'm doing an internet voice. Reaching a new generation of fans while keeping our traditional home family, the BBC in the UK.
That's just noise. That's not even words.
Is anyone still listening to this?
Jesus,
I'm not.
Guys,
it's terrible.
Rude.
I do apologise to anyone who's still trying to persevere with this. And if you're still listening, why the hell are you still listening to?
Rude.
No,
anyway. Charlotte Moore, BBC Chief Content Officer,
Does she have
said,
a funny voice, I wonder?
"We're thrilled to announce this exciting global..." No, I'll stop. But what I'm wondering is, as a result of them joining forces, it seems, with Disney Plus are they going to have like executive producer sort of input? Are they going to give notes?
Oh, I did wonder that myself.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great fusion potentially of two fantastic brands, and to be on board with Disney is kind of quite amazing. But yeah, there might be some editorial things that come with that. I'm sure the
Well, it hasn't harmed Marvel or the Star Wars franchise to any great degree. Although Craig might disagree.
well, apart from the films,
I think
destroyed the films.
I'm not worried about it because I'm not a Doctor Who. I'm not crazy about Doctor Who, so I don't really mind. And I'm kind of done with all this messing about with franchises, to be honest. But if they do start giving notes, and I suspect they might, it's purely because they're saying things like, we want to prepare this for a new audience. They want it to go to 190 different countries. And then when we start thinking about the importance that is placed on representation and inclusion, stuff like that, are people in all these countries going to feel represented in a British episode of Doctor Who? So I think that there will be input. I think it might be slight because essentially it's a British show, isn't it? And that's important that it remains a British show.
Yeah, but only in terms of the main characters. I mean, don't forget, it can go anywhere in time and space. So, if you're looking for a show that, is a flagship for diversity, you've got it. He can go anywhere. He can see anybody. I don't know whether Disney money will afford, enable them to afford overseas shooting. That would be amazing. So, it's not a bad thing.
Well, talking to that, Tempest, you actually said that you'd seen a clip where Shooty's talking about where he wants to take Doctor Who. Now, I think I've got the clip here. If I just try and bring it up, it was on the Doctor Who feed, and this is from Live Kelly and Ryan, whoever that is. And I'll see if I can just play it. We'll just have a listen.
Now, you are going to be the next Doctor Who.
No, it's right.
Is that right? That's global news these days, isn't it?
I am, yeah. From a 17-year-old to a 900-year-old. It's quite a range.
But explain Doctor Who to those who don't know in America.
Yes, Doctor Who is a British institution.
Did you say 17?
Really, it's a show that follows alien time lords that travels through time and space in a police box, a blue police box called the TARDIS, and he usually has like a human companion. And he can regenerate. They can regenerate into any new body whenever they're fatally injured. So it's a very exciting show. It's got a lot of possibilities and it can go anywhere. But yeah, it feels very exciting to have that baton handed over to me because there's been incredible actors that have played.
What did your mom say? I mean, I'm assuming it's like the biggest deal.
She freaked out.
Right.
She freaked out, Kelly, because it's such a British institution, and as an immigrant family coming over to the UK, I think it meant a lot for them to see me in that role. And so, yeah, she just freaked out. It was the first job where she was like, "Oh, you're actually an actor."
Even what, like,
this isn't a
not
phase.
even sex ed.
Not even sex ed.
Right,
what is
right.
that? Netflix?
Sex education,
Netflix?
and then and then.
But and this now is not just going to be in the UK. It is going to be around the world.
It's going to be around the world. Yeah. This is like a very historic partnership with the BBC and Disney Plus. Thank you, Disney Plus, for having us.
Will it evolve because it's in different places now?
Hopefully, yes. Yeah. It's now accessible to the world. Can now access it through Disney Plus. But back at home, nothing changes. It's still
it's still classic Doctor Who.
Still classic Doctor Who, but it's now really accessible to the whole world.
His first episode,
You're perfect for the role.
Thank you. Hopefully.
No, you are. You are perfect for the role.
Yeah, Russell T Davies is very good.
Now,
at
you
that
are going
kind
to
of
be the
stuff.
next Doctor.
Yeah, so, I mean, I don't know if you picked up on that, but he was talking about the international feel of it, and I think that they are going to be filming it abroad. I think, as I was trying to say before, I think that other countries are going to want to see the Doctor in their country.
They have done that before, though. I mean, there was an episode in India quite recently, and they did one in France back in the classic Doctor Who days. They've done one in Amsterdam. So if they've got the money, they'd rather do that than have to build the sets, I think.
Yeah, and they've gone to Lanzarote a couple of times for various reasons. But I think, but knowing what Russell's like, he's not going to go to another country to film it just because they want them there. He's going to do. He'll only do it for story reasons.
Yes, yeah.
And I think that's really sort of quite important. He's not, if you like, vain enough just to chase where the audience want him to be. He'll chase where the script needs him to be. That's really important.
Have either of you two got an opinion on Shooty yet?
Well, I don't know him all.
Well, how can we have an opinion on him? We've not seen anything. Well, unless you've seen the stuff he's done previously. But then, if you'd seen the stuff John Pertwee had done previously, you'd have a very skewed opinion of what his Doctor Who was going to be like.
And I think it's a very good point about what fans are like, or the internet's like, because people will shoot things down. And I've heard people criticising Russell's new series before they filmed any of it. And how can people criticise something that doesn't actually exist? And
he certainly looks like he's got all the right qualities, doesn't he? I can't quite tell how he's going to play it. I find that exciting. Whereas with Jodie Whittaker, the thing about the Doctor is any actor that comes to play it brings part of themselves to it. And I've seen interviews with Jodie Whittaker before she played the Doctor, and she's just a perfectly normal, nice woman. And that's not the case with him. There's something going on. There's some mercurial sort of feel to him, and it could go either way. But I think he's got what it takes.
Yeah, and it's good the fact we're excited about seeing him as the Doctor, really, which is it's interesting. We've got some David Tennant episodes between that then and now to actually stretch out that tension even further. But there's excitement about I mean, Craig saw a picture of him earlier and said, "Oh, is that his costume?" Already thinking, what's the look going to be? And and he's got there's that excitement, almost a danger as well in his eyes as well. Actually, there's a real passion there as a human being, which will translate really well into the Doctor's costume, I think.
And another thing as well, if you think about the way he's talking about it with a degree of reverence, which isn't really his, it's his parents' reverence from the sound of it, and you try and compare that to what Jodie was saying before she arrived on Doctor Who, which was largely, we're going to shake it up, we're going to change it, it's all going to be different. He's got a respect for the show that even if he does shake it up and make it different, you get the feeling that he knows there's something there that needs to be kept.
Yeah. And, I mean, Doctor Who's always about, the outsider and, the underdog and things like that and standing up for people. Yeah. And so just the concept, he mentioned he's come from an immigrant family. The fact that, he's come from nowhere. And if any program's going to boost someone like him and his career, it should be someone like Doctor Who.
When they do so I was looking into Julie Gardner, who's the founder of Bad Wolf and Bad Wolf America. And there's somebody called Jane Tranter as well, who's also the founder. Now, I believe that...
sorry, Craig. While you're talking about that, I understood that this was going to be a joint production between the BBC and Bad Wolf. Are they not part of it anymore?
I assume BBC must be somewhere along there.
Hold on, that's a very... So let me go to...
No, I don't mean the BBC. I mean Bad Wolf.
Let me go to...
Because it looks to be a collaboration between BBC and Disney, and there doesn't seem to be any reference to Bad Wolf, and yet I seem to remember that there was a lot of Bad Wolf in collaboration with the BBC. I could be wrong.
Yeah, because it was Russell, Jane, and Julie had set up Bad Wolf.
Yeah.
Let me just do some checking here on the internet. Talk amongst yourselves while I do. I've got Julie Gardner here.
Actually, while he's doing the checking, was that point where we're sort of saying, would Disney be giving notes on Doctor Who? And I think kind of hopefully, because we just had an era where it seemed to be just Chibnall creating it, and I don't think anybody was giving notes, so he could do what he wanted. And what he wasn't.
I'm not sure about that. I think there was an element of general. I'm doing little air quotes now. BBC agenda about the show. It was. I think when he pitched his vision to the BBC, they thought, well, that's brilliant. Yeah. That's exactly what we're trying to do. Because he almost certainly said, "I'm going to make the Doctor a woman, and it's going to be full of powerful, strong women, and it's going to be amazing." right? Which is not something that I have a problem with. It's just, if it's done without any underlying drive, and without actually paying attention to the detail of the script and actually exploring those reasons, exploring why things are the way they are and why they maybe shouldn't be. But none of that was there.
No.
You had that typical sort of the thing that you get a lot with I don't know, they start to do it with Marvel a lot now, where suddenly there'll be a young female character who can beat the crap out of 4 or 5 huge burly men by magic. She's never had any training and she hasn't got any muscles, and it doesn't make any sense. Whereas if you have that traditional kind of underdog has to work to overcome the I don't know, the forces of evil, you've got to have that story that takes them from where they are and gives them the strength, and you see where that strength comes from and how they get there. That's all missing.
Yeah, well, the idea, the old days in the classic series, you had the idea that the sixth floor keeping an eye on it and checking scripts and, checking rushes and feeding back. And you don't get the sense, certainly look at the last one with the Sea Devils, you can't believe anyone in the BBC sort of said, yeah, go ahead with that.
Yeah, that works. That works fine. That was really good. Oh, I like that. I like the fishmen.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I like the lack of plausibility, but the lack of continuity or the lack of decent editing.
That's directed really well, actually. I like that. Anyway,
there were some really nice colours in it.
Yeah, and it's time for me to go meet my mum now. But I'll be back after. Just edit a bit more, guys. I've just got to meet my mum. I'm making out that they're children.
No,
Who are children?
The executives in charge. Anyway, so I'm looking at the 60th anniversary.
He's just a bitter old man, really.
I'm not bitter, and I'm not old. I'm not. So I'm looking at the 60th anniversary special, which is they're calling season 14, episode 0, right? And it's going to be directed by Rachel Talat.
Oh God, what's this strange voice he's put on? Just say it. You can't say a woman's name, but put a strange voice, is it?
Rachel Talalay.
I'm so sorry. Still none the wiser as to what she's
called. Rachel Talalay. Rachel Talalay. And but also knows that in the episode they're going to have Neil Patrick Harris is going to be in it.
That's quite a coup, isn't it? He's quite someone.
And
he's double-barreled. Look.
Now you tell me these. If you know these names, Jacqueline King.
No.
Okay, so you don't know her, but do you know?
Do we have to know the names?
No, it's just.
Is this a judgment about?
No, I'm not judging. Not judging if you don't know the names. It's absolutely fine. I thought you were experts. You're clearly not. Catherine Tate is playing Donna Noble, right? Now you knew that.
Yeah, I've heard of her.
And I don't know who Donna Noble is, but Jacqueline King is playing Sylvia Noble.
Oh, that's Donna's mother.
Right.
Yeah.
She's really good. I really liked her. She's very, very good.
And what's the name of the new companion going to be?
Rose.
What's the full name?
Rose Noble.
Rose something _ Noble.
Rose Patrick Harris.
So the new companion's got to be.
Thank you.
I didn't know what you're saying. No, I missed it. Was it really funny?
Well, it is a callback, but don't worry about it.
Oh,
went over your head.
Can you call it back later on as well?
No.
Oh. So this new companion is going to be related to Donna Noble and Sylvia Noble. That's what I've worked out. I don't know whether double barrel.
It's Donna's daughter, I believe.
Yeah.
Well, there's okay. I think the new actor is a trans woman of
that
color.
Was the actress then, wouldn't it?
Of color. So I'm not sure how that would work out.
Sorry, was that pause something? Was there something significant in that pause?
Yeah, well, it's just like I don't think she can't be a daughter or anything like that, can she? Can she adopted?
Why not?
In fact, it's called Rose because Donna met Rose. So it makes sense that she called.
Yeah.
Well, we'll find out, won't we? Yeah. But there you go. That's a little bit of interesting. Barry Cribbins is also in it.
That's fantastic.
Is this the last thing he filmed then before he died? Perhaps.
I should imagine it would have been close to the last thing. And he was superb in it. He really, really good.
Yeah. No, I like that Barry Cribbins is. I've worked with Barry Cribbins.
I preferred him in The Wumble.
Well, it's interesting because Internet Movie Database, the credit that when they have an actor, they say also in, known for. They put Frenzy from 1972. That's
Correct, Hitchcock,
yeah. Well, who was he in Frenzy? I don't remember.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Who was he in Frenzy? I don't remember that at all.
He was the character that was played by Bernard Cribbin.
Yeah, Tobermory.
So Rachel Talalalalalalalale.
I do apologise.
She has. So she's directed Doctor Who before, I believe. I'm interested in the directors. I think it's important.
Oh, what did she direct?
She did.
Season 14, episode 0.
It looks like she's directing. What's this chap called?
Peter Capaldi.
Peter Capaldi. So she's done that.
Yeah, but which do we know which episode she directed?
Hellbent.
No, that was a good one. That was
Hellbent. Which one was that?
That was one with
Which
just
one?
him in. That was just the Doctor hitting the
That was
wall.
superb.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she's very good.
She was in. She did Tank Girl. Yeah.
Tank Girl, the movie. God, that was awful.
Yeah. So she must be a terrible director. And also,
Actually, no, it was probably directed quite well. Actually, now I remember, it was just.
Yeah. I've just brought a picture up. You can't really see it too well on the screen here, but
in the TARDIS.
I love that TARDIS.
That's beautiful.
Is that the old TARDIS?
Yeah.
Oh,
Is that-
let me see. Hang on.
You can't see.
You know, it appeared at the end of.
No, but I've got your stream on, and it's like 10 minutes out of sync.
You know, Capaldi had the classic console in Kara's last couple of stories.
The white one with the big circles.
You know, and that roundels, honestly. That's why all the TARDISes that since the series came back in 2005 I always found disappointing because none of them have been as beautiful as the original TARDISes from the original run.
True.
Yeah, the beautiful roundels, the doors, the hum, the consoles, even when they were falling apart, the consoles.
Oh, the Randalls. What do you think of the Randalls in the
roundels? I do apologise.
So, tell you what, what I'd like to see is Shooty has to use the secondary control room.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that would be good.
Yeah. Well, I've always wanted the Doctor to go to one of the roundels, take it off, and and it to bring his washing out.
Yes,
it'd be brilliant.
I love the Randalls.
Well, he does keep a brandy in there, doesn't he?
Yeah. Oh yes.
Does he?
Yes.
Oh, do you remember the TARDIS, the interior of the TARDIS that Tennant had? I thought that was superb, and the Randalls, that were in that, were cracking.
Well, they're kind of just like lights, though. They weren't really proper roundels.
But what I saw in the last episode of Doctor Who was just the most horrific plastic-looking rock structure in the centre of the.
I never got that.
Awful.
I mean, I was saying to you earlier, every Doctor, every TARDIS console and control room, no matter how it changed, when they walked into the TARDIS into the police box prop, then they entered the TARDIS set from left to right, and that's the way it always worked. Then with this new console that George had, I could never work out the relationship between the door and the console. It drove me mad, you know. And yeah, it never seemed to quite work. That I don't know if it was.
Well, to be fair, it is round, isn't it?
Yeah, well, roundels.
What's round? The console.
The TARDIS, it's round. So it depends. You could stand in the middle of it, just turn round, and the door would be in any direction opposite you.
Right.
You know, it's not like, in a normal room, you've got like some furniture on one side and furniture on the other, and you know where you're oriented. But the TARDIS console is a complete circle. So if the door was on the other side, it wouldn't make any difference.
Yeah. But they never really crossed the 180-degree line to film it from the other way, did they?
Oh, yeah, no, I see what you mean. This is a professional technical issue you have.
So, yeah, and it's just kind of almost like, in the mad world of the TARDIS, there's got to be some sort of plausibility. And one is that where the door is, I think.
And you went in.
Yeah, I mean, so long as that was kind of referenced rather than it just being because the director doesn't know how to sort of edit a scene together.
But we now know the TARDIS can now go on its side and just fly around like a drone
and
or like an aeroplane.
It's been doing that for a while.
And anyone could pilot it.
Oh yeah, it's dead easy to pilot it to such a level that you could catch somebody falling off a building.
Yeah.
It's so good, the TARDIS, how it's able to do that.
Well, it's a living woman.
That's true.
Is it?
Idris, very good. Yes. And we need to educate me. There's a very. You see,
Randall's.
Now you see, she would have made a superb Doctor.
Yeah. Was that a callback?
No. It's a reference to another. Actually, it's one where we say resetting everything to the beginning or the end of the Russell T Davies era. There were some nice things that happened in the Moffat era, and that was Neil Gaiman's script, wasn't it? For
oh, that was brilliant, and that was full of little callbacks, like the little cube at the beginning.
So, Rochelle Talalala.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
She just say she also directed Sherlock. So there's the link to Moffat.
Well, I can't think of a single episode of Sherlock that wasn't cracking in its direction. So she's got the chops.
Yeah, it's a shame. She's clearly a very good director, and we can't even be bothered to give her credit by pronouncing her surname properly.
Well, one of them must be right. Rochelle Talala. How do you pronounce it?
Can you write it down, Craig, and hold it up so I can see how it's spelled?
It's now on the screen. So her first name is spelled Rachel. So that's
Rachel.
And her last name is Talalay. So that's Talalale.
Talalay. Rachel Talalay. Simple as that.
No, there it is on the screen.
It's kind of offensive, isn't it? Really?
Yes. Talalay. Rachel Talalay.
Rachel Talalay.
All right, Rachel Talalay then.
Rachel Talalay. Unbelievable. Poor woman.
Yeah. God forbid I'd try and be entertained.
Hang on, is that Rachel or is that Raquel? Don't you have like an E in Rachel?
Yeah,
no, that's Rachel.
There's normally an A, but obviously it's Rachel because she's got enough A's in her surname, so she's not going to occupy too many in a Christian name either.
Oh.
So it's Rachel.
And there's a Q in Raquel, isn't there?
Maybe it's Talala E. Talala E.
I really apologise to this person. She's clearly sort of.
I think she's
I'm glad
a
somebody
great
is.
professional. And she's doing some great work, and she's got some great Doctor Who gigs, and we can't even say her surname properly. We never got that with what Peter Moffat did, we or
Peter Moffat.
Dudley Simpson.
Anyway, Alisa Bowden, president of Disney Plus, said, just to finish that,
Graham Harper.
she said that we're excited about the opportunity to bring new seasons of this beloved franchise exclusively to Disney Plus and introduce the show to the next generation of audiences. So that's not you two, in more than 150 markets around the world.
It shouldn't be us two.
They're going to town. So does that mean Disney are plowing money into it as well? They must be. It's
Probably.
They're planning money, and it's not for us too. That's really
I think expect movies.
Well, it's not for us to, and I do need to raise this as an issue. This show isn't made for 50-year-old men who live on their own. There comes a point where we have to take a step back and think, this is for kids and families, and if you sit down with your children and watch it, that's how this show works. But by the time you get to be like jaded 50-year-old bloke, we've got to take a step back before we start knocking it. Do you know what I mean?
I agree, and I think that that's true of so much that's happening in films at the minute. That you just need to keep all your toys and your figurines. Is that what they call?
Yeah.
Figures, and enjoy them for what they were. They're not deleting the old episodes. The BBC is applying to have its entire archive available on the iPlayer through Ofcom, and that's being considered at the moment. Beyond. Well, initially, something on iPlayer would only be allowed to be there for 30 days, and by the way, that it was, and they were allowed to do it. Ofcom didn't want them to be a monopoly of, I don't know what the reasoning was, but they weren't allowed to go beyond the 30 days. They had to apply to do it for 12 months, and now they're applying to do it kind of indefinitely with more content. So that's what iPlayer should be.
Actually, can I interrupt? Tempest, you said earlier that Doctor Who's not being made for
50-year-old people living on their own or whatever.
Yeah,
But it's a bit condescending, I thought.
Well, I thought the word jaded, I think you said. So jaded. It was
cynical, I think you said.
Cynical. And I think the reason that I'm not jaded and cynical is because of Doctor Who, actually. No, excuse me.
Go on.
The reason I'm not jaded and cynical is because of what good Doctor Who sort of keeps you sort of open-minded and optimistic. And so hopefully, even though that we might not be the target audience of the next series, you know, it could breed. You know, if we're going to breathe life into new Doctor Who, we're going to breathe life into us as well, and that's not a bad thing.
There you go.
Well, yeah, but I think what you find with a lot of older Doctor Who fans is that it made a massive impact when we were kids, and so we feel protective about it. And what worries me is there's an awful lot of guys my age, some of them older, who just kick off about any change because they feel that it's damaging their heritage and it's damaging something that was important to them as a child. But the world changes, and the
and
going to move on, and it's going to tackle issues that affect young people today that didn't affect us, and we've got to give it a bit of breathing space and maybe learn something from that,
even if there aren't any roundels.
Oh, I love the roundels.
I mean that is a very much a sticking point.
So, if I was to be the producer of the next Doctor Who,
oh God, no.
Because I mean, I love the main character, Doctor Who.
You could cast me.
What would I do? Well, first of all, I would change the interior of the police box.
Did you ask him what? I didn't ask him.
I think country beige, nice little bit country beige, and I don't know, maybe get rid of that big plastic thing in the middle. That big, it looks like one of those salt rocks you get.
And maybe
home.
just yeah. Maybe only cast directors whose names you can pronounce without going halfway through it.
Yes, absolutely. I absolutely agree. But only have directors whose names we can pronounce. I agree. So,
well, like
not
Wilf
her.
Lunn.
Wilf Lunn. Wilf Lunn. Oh, Wilf.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. I'm.
Do you remember Wilf Lunn?
I'm full of respect for that director.
Pennant Roberts.
Well, let's hope it's going to be Fab and Ace and Skill and Brill. Can both of you, because you're both absolute experts on Doctor Who,
You're gonna like this, not
can you both tell me what's happening in terms of how many episodes is Tennant going to be doing, what's involved in this 60th anniversary, and when are we going to see Ncuti as the next Doctor?
I don't know. Is that a thing that you read said it's going to be Christmas next year? We see Ncuti as the Doctor. So
Next year, yeah.
Will it be Christmas? Will it be New Year? Are they going back to Christmas now?
Next year.
I mean, I'm sure, I don't know. I mean, that's
Excellent.
yeah. I mean, they could change it, but yeah. So I think the 30th anniversary, 60th anniversary special will be November next year. So I assume that's when we're seeing Tennant.
November 23rd, it will be, won't it?
23rd, yeah. Oh, can you imagine? Oh, I can't believe I can't believe that 10 years has nearly passed since.
Don't even go there. It was Eccleston, 2005, man.
It's not.
Well, it's 5 years. It's 5 years from 2005 to 2010, and then it's another 12. So it's 12 and 5.
17.
Oh, what's that? Hang on. There, yeah, there you go. 17. It's even worse.
So that's An Unearthly Child to The Creature from the Pit.
Oh, great episodes.
That's the gap it's been.
Oh.
Good grief.
So, hang on. Are you saying it was 17? What are you saying here?
What are you saying?
I would say it's 17 years ago it came back. Because you said it's 12 and 5.
17 years before that.
17 years is the gap between An Unearthly Child and Creature from the Pit.
Gotcha.
That's a I know that's a oomph.
On time.
Craig's just look at this watch because he has a clue what we're talking about.
That's just breaking news, that's all. Somebody's died, but it's okay.
They haven't on my news feed. Oh, one, yes, there is.
So, we shouldn't be laughing, really.
No, sure.
That's a bit disrespectful. It's like, I pronounced somebody's name wrong, and that's disrespectful to you. But when somebody dies, that's laughable.
Well, you got to bear up to the
bitter, isn't
and twisted.
Really,
and
really
twisted.
bitter. He needs to watch more Doctor Who just to get more slightly
So,
humane.
just to clarify, Phil.
I think it's because she was a woman. He's going.
Just to clarify, Phil.
If she called Steven Spielberg, he'd say that, wouldn't he?
Just to clarify everything that you've just said, then, Phil. So, are we going to have no episodes of Doctor Who next year? Then is that right?
No. Well, I think David Tennant's episode's going to be next year, by the looks of it.
Oh, right.
I mean, at Christmas next year, maybe Ncuti makes his appearance.
Why are we not just making episodes? Why are we doing all this like specials all the time? I don't quite get it. Am I stupid?
A proper full series. I think a proper full series would be good, but I think it's just.
It's like
I don't know why.
So season 14 finished. It's like season 14. Was it on every like Friday or something? Every Thursday with, Jodie Whittaker's last season 14.
I mean, it was last on at Easter when it was the Sea Devils. That was the last time it was on.
But that was like one episode, and then there was like months and months and months. There was months and months and months of nothing, right? And then Sea Devils episode.
Yeah.
So we're like just.
And then Months of Nothing and The Power of the Doctor.
Is that how it's going to be then? Just like big gaps between.
I don't know. I know Russell's been, in America looking at how come these, big spectacular things can be, you can knock out 26 episodes a year.
Yeah.
And I think there has been no continuity or build up of audience because it was just on, from one New Year to the next there was no episodes, and you can't. I think she's been the Doctor since 2017. That's kind of a long time, but with not that many stories and huge gaps between them, and that's not served her very well at all. It's been a bit unfortunate.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So Tempest, compared to how you were feeling when you'd seen Sea Devils, to how you're feeling about things now that you know the new Doctor, how do you feel about Doctor Who? Have you gone from I don't care anymore to this looks quite promising and you're excited about it?
I am genuinely excited for a 50-year-old man. I'm genuinely excited about this children's television show coming back.
And it's just frustrating. It's so long to wait as well. We want those episodes now, especially.
Yeah, I hope I can live that.
Oh, I hope you can too. But if you don't, there you go.
Yeah, we hope you do.
You'll be in our thoughts when it's broadcast.
What else can you?
We'll be thinking of you.
Yeah.
It might actually say, the opening credits, this has been dedicated to Tempest.
Yeah. Dedicated to Tempest.
Oh, God, what a fantastic thing that would be.
Yeah. And we'll get everyone in the congregation to see.
It's almost worth dying for that.
Yeah. Anyway, on that bombshell, I think it's time to wrap up. And thanks both of you for joining me on my second ever live stream, which I was actually quite nervous about doing, I gotta be honest with you. Because
thank you very much for having.
There's a lot involved.
Yeah.
Sorry about the cough.
Yeah. So sorry about not knowing anything about Doctor Who.
No, that's all right.
Well, that's why you have us on.
Yeah.
Not that I know much.
Well, I've learned quite a lot, though. I've learned all about the Randalls now. I've learned how to pronounce the new director's name.
Yeah.
Rochelle.
Hey, Phil, get him to watch Genesis of the Daleks.
Do I have that right? That was quick, wasn't it?
Right.
What are you laughing for, Craig? You don't know what you're talking about.
I want to thank everybody for watching. Looking at the numbers. And thanks for all your questions and your super chats. That's really great.
I'd like to thank you too to the viewer.
We had 2 viewers that's just gone down to 1.
Was one of them you, Tempest?
It's this iPad here.
So we're one of the viewers and Tempest is zero. Excellent. Yeah. One of us has gone off.
But I'm delighted that this is now going to sit. This has been live streamed to YouTube and to Twitch. I'm not a fan of Twitch, but there are people on YouTube who enjoy the stuff I do. So hopefully it'll pick up a few viewers after I've added some hashtags to it and I publicize it a little bit. But thanks to you both for joining us, and I think we should wrap it up there, and hopefully you'll both want to do this again sometime.